Whether you're a newer blogger looking to monetize or a seasoned creator wanting to add an additional revenue stream, here's an idea. Freelancing. With freelancing, you don't have to be a popular influencer or have a certain number of page views to make money. Instead, you create content for different brands and publications and get paid for your skills versus your following. But how do you actually get started with earning from freelance work? Well, that is exactly what our guest, travel blogger and content strategist Brittany, who also runs the Substack newsletter, The Freelancer Fix, will be breaking down for us. Brittany is a former classroom teacher who was able to replace her teaching salary in just 3 months by turning the blogging skills that she already had into service-based freelance work. Today, she'll be sharing her best tips to help you pinpoint what services to offer, set your rates, and turn this into a reliable income stream. Brittany is also a longtime member of my Travel Blog Prosperity membership, where she is constantly sharing helpful strategies and aha moments with the community, which also brings me to a fun invitation waiting for you in the show notes. This April 2026, I am hosting a free open house inside Travel Blog Prosperity, a 5-day event for bloggers wanting to grow their traffic, email list, and income. Each day, you'll get access to a live workshop or coaching call, replays always included, as well as our private community Facebook group, where you can come, ask questions, and network in a safe and nurturing environment. If you've been feeling stuck lately or you're searching for some blogging clarity and community support, you won't want to miss it. To sign up for the free open house, you can scan the QR code on your screen or head to jesseonajourney.com/open-house, which I will also have linked in the video description. And that's not all. You can also head to the video description or scan the QR code on your screen to grab access to my free Travel Blogger resource library, which features 75 plus tutorials, trainings, and templates, all meant to help you grow and monetize, including a make money freelancing cheat sheet to pair with today's video. It'll help you implement Brittany's tips faster and easier. Feel free to even pause this video to go grab those resources. You back? Then let's dive in. Well, thank you, Brittany, so much for taking the time to share your tips. To start, can you just share more about yourself, your business, and how you got into freelancing?
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me here, Jessie. I would say that it really started by people just noticing what I was doing. I've said before that I just share with everybody, like everybody's a friend I haven't made yet. So I talk about when I see they could be doing something like better or easier, I share it with them pretty freely. People saw what I was doing with social media and with blogging and podcasting. So they caught wind of that and I just started helping them. And first it was organic. And then eventually it led to me offering that as a paid service. So I know we're going to talk all about that today.
Let's start with the basics. What blogging and content skills do travel creators already have that businesses are actively willing to pay for? And what about newer bloggers and creators who are like just getting started with this?
Yeah, so many things. Oh my goodness. Okay, so writing, even just the skill of writing in an engaging way, is so valuable. I mean, we often take for granted something that comes easy to us or something that comes easier to us because we've learned over time is not always available to companies or to small business owners who really need that skill. So even just writing the actual blog post itself, on-page SEO, which I know everybody here is interested in learning or they have learned, that is a really high technical skill. And then if you have website SEO and the more technical stuff, I mean, companies and brands and small business owners will love that. Even just understanding how email marketing works, how online marketing works, how these systems all play together. I've been so surprised at things that I thought were really easy because I'll tell more about my story and I'm sure you've heard a little bit already, but I was very much not confident. I did not feel confident to go pitch myself to brands. Honestly, I'm still a little scared of that. I'm just now doing that now. But I knew, okay, well, they obviously saw this. This was valuable, so I'll share this. And things you think are simple, uploading a podcast episode to a platform, uploading a YouTube video, doing YouTube video descriptions, and then also product listings because I have experience with a site called Teachers Pay Teachers. It's like Etsy for teachers. People saw me doing that, and people often don't like that part. So I said, okay, well, I like it and I can do it. So I'll do it for you.
Yeah, I think a lot of times too, you can kind of think of like either something maybe you like to do that other people don't, or maybe if it's even something that you're like, I don't mind doing this, or like something either people don't always want to do, or at least will like take time.
Yeah, it's often things that either are really easy or good for you. Like if you think about it from the flip end, right? If you were to hire somebody, is either things that you're really good at and you could easily teach somebody else how to do. And you're like, this is fun, but this is probably not the best use of my time. I could be making more money if I spent time elsewhere. You could do that for somebody else. And same thing if something is too hard for somebody else, or if it's just something that they need that only you can uniquely provide. So I didn't even mention this yet, but if you have photography or videography skills, I mean, that is, and obviously, like you could command a high price for that. And that is something that these companies don't have. And sometimes even just, by the way, not being afraid to get on camera. I have been so surprised at some UGC stuff I've done for teacher creators that I'm like, that's it? That's all you want me to do? Okay, I'll do it. But like, okay, I just feel like I'm cheating the system or something. But it's just because they're scared to get on camera. And so if you're not scared to get on camera, you could be a spokesperson for brands. I mean, really, the world is your oyster.
I want to dig into all these different options a bit. With there being so many options, how can bloggers and creators decide what services they should ultimately offer?
Yeah, there is a whole rabbit hole, right? I mean, you could really go down a rabbit hole trying to figure this out. So I actually have an exercise. So I'm going to walk you through that if that's okay. And then as you're watching or listening, listener, viewer, then you can just do this for yourself. And I also told Jessie before this at the beginning that I'll give her some kind of page that you can download and work through it if you want more time. Maybe you're driving or something like that. Don't try to do this while you're driving. So I would just ask you first, what are you good at? Or what do you feel comfortable doing? Because sometimes it's not even something that you feel really super confident about, but it's just something that you're like, I can do. Jessie mentioned that. It doesn't have to be something you're super passionate about, although it can be if you want for it to be, right? I mean, like it can be that. So do you like writing blog posts? Do you like I said, making videos? Maybe it's something you've done for fun, but you haven't monetized it yet. For me, I didn't mind being on camera. So I was like, okay, I could look into UGC stuff. I've done a little bit of that. Pinterest pins. Do you enjoy making those? Do you enjoy the keyword research? So many people don't like that. Businesses as well. They don't know how to do it. Do you like creating email newsletters? Do you like editing podcasts or editing videos? I would say just take an inventory and brain dump everything that you're either really good at and that you're like, I could do this pretty quickly, or things that you enjoy doing. And then based on that, you can also think, what do people ask you about? So if you can't think of skills, which I know it's a mindset minefield to try to figure out things that you're good at, but maybe think about what people have asked you about or what have you helped people with. So I will say in the beginning, I was very self-conscious about how few followers I felt like I had. And I didn't really feel like I had big reach or influence. But one thing about me is that I learn every single tip and trick with a platform. Like I will learn the platform inside and out. I will find the hacks that save me time. And that I've realized is a skill set in itself. So we'd call that like social media management or social media strategy. And then also figuring out how these platforms work together. So that was something that showed me early on, oh, okay, this is really valuable. And there are companies and people who would pay for this. So what do people ask you about? What do people message you and say, hey, can I get you coffee? Or can I pick your brain about? That's usually a really good sign that that's something you can offer. And then also another question would be, what does your schedule look like reasonably? What could you offer? I know that seems like a silly question to ask, but on top of everything else you have going on, I usually tell people my paid clients come first. Like that is my priority. If they've already paid for something, and she's nodding her head in case you're listening. So that is like my main priority throughout the week is if somebody paid for a service, that is my non-negotiable. I have to get that done. So what can you realistically do in 2 to 4 hours a week? And the reason I put that box, I guess that constraint, is because in the beginning, everything is going to take you longer than you think it will. And not just the service itself, but emailing back and forth, sending an invoice, collecting payment, keeping track of who's paid what. So you'll need more time than you think you will. So I would say like 2 to 4 hours a week to start, and then you can go and grow from there. And then also find the overlap. So if you can get all 4 of these, that's great. I say, think about your passions, your proficiency. So what are you good at? What do you like is your passion? What is profitable? So some things are enjoyable, but they're not as profitable. So you kind of have to think through that. And then what is actually going to be problem solving? What's going to solve a problem for somebody? So your ideal first service is going to live where it's something you already do. It's something people already trust you with. If so, great. I know that your main audience might not be the ones hiring you, so we can talk about that too. So sometimes you might have to demonstrate your proficiency in another way. And then what fits your current capacity? So I'll also say I started when I was a full-time teacher, and I honestly probably didn't have as much capacity as I could have. And that's also why I share this in the beginning. Like, don't overload yourself or else you will burn out. And I had very specific financial goals. I had a short timeline, and we could talk about that too. But I wouldn't recommend that to everybody. I would recommend people starting slowly and then building it up over time. And then from there, I really think if you don't overthink it, you could have like within 30 minutes an idea of what your first service will be. Now, I know pricing and all of that is going to be something else to consider, but you can at least know what you're doing and for whom. So that's the exercise. And like I said, I'll have like a Google Doc, a downloadable version. If you want to print it off as a PDF, you can, or you can just use Google Docs. So I'll send that to Jessie after this.
And then I'm curious, once someone has pinpointed, like, okay, this is what I want to do, what should their next steps be? Should they be creating a separate website or a portfolio or any specific, action steps they should take?
Yeah, that part is also another thing that gets people stuck. So one gift I also have is I will just skip steps and I'll say, I'll just come back to this later. So that is one thing I did is I said, okay, what is the fastest way for me to get a client? And I will also say, it depends on where you are financially. Everybody's situation is so different, right? If you're like, I need to make X amount of dollars, and that was kind of the situation I was in. I knew that my teaching contract was coming to an end. Where I lived literally depended on that job. So I was like, okay, I have to find new income because it's also going to affect my place to live. So I had like a 4 to 6 month timeline. So I did things a little bit differently. If I could go back and start over, I would have at least had a portfolio. You can set this up in Canva very, very quickly, like in an hour, honestly. You can use a template. And if you've ever put together, by the way, for those of you who are a little more advanced or more experienced with this, if you put together a media kit, a portfolio is basically the same thing, except for that you include different things in there. So you might link to podcast episodes you've edited or to websites you've designed. Like, it depends on what you're offering, but just a really simple way to show it off. And honestly, the shorter, the better. Like, if you can put it all on one page, people are so busy. They don't want to look at everything. They just want to see, okay, can this person do what they said they were going to do? Now, I know we're going to talk a little bit about marketplaces and platforms too, but if you are on something like Fiverr or Upwork, and I will also say Upwork is newer to me, Fiverr is the one that I've really been spending time on this last year and a half. If you have a platform like that, then your gigs kind of act as the portfolio. So a gig is like a listing, so we can talk about that too. But then you want to think about, how can I demonstrate this? So is there a video I can put up? Are there screenshots? Are there pictures? The more evidence you can provide, the better. That's what they're really looking for. It doesn't always have to be super aesthetic. It just has to be a way for them to see that you've done it before.
You had mentioned Fiverr and Upwork, so let's talk about that. Do you have any tips for finding the perfect brands or partners to pitch for freelance work? And like I said, I know you mentioned it here. I know in Travel Blog Prosperity on our calls, you've talked a lot about Fiverr and the different services you offer there. So I'm curious how you feel about those platforms. Should people be only doing those, or should it be a mix of platforms and manual pitching brands?
Yeah, I will say it depends on your strengths. And I know that it's so hard to hear an answer that it depends. Like, I know people just want like a step by step, but it really does depend. So for me, I've always been really good at networking in the sense of like, I just make friends with everybody. I really do. Like, that's just who I am. I don't know. So for me, it made sense to actually respond to people who were already hiring. So that is one thing that I think that everybody can do. If you can get on mailing lists, if you can get on newsletters, if you're in memberships or associations or clubs, like, that is just great. Like, just let people know, hey, I'm starting to offer X service. Once you've determined that, do you know anybody who's looking, or are you looking for that? And I think people overthink this. They get stressed about it, but it's just like, think about someone you know who started a business. You won't mind if someone says, hey, I'm a photographer. Do you know anyone who's doing that? And you might say, I don't know anyone who's offering that, but I'll think of you now if someone is. That's what most people are going to say when they respond. So that is one thing you can do, is kind of letting people know. You can also respond to jobs. Like I said, I got a little bit lucky that my first client was, they literally put on their email list, they're looking for a social media manager. And I said, that's me. I'm going to get this job. And I will say that one thing it helped too is I replied in a kind of witty way. So I think that also helped me. And then I just went ahead and made some videos before. I actually don't even think they asked originally. I just said, I'm going to make myself stand out and go a little bit above and beyond and put that out. And I do think that goes a long way with people too. So networking, responding, Fiverr and Upwork. So I actually went on Fiverr afterwards. So this might be a little bit different than if you are brand new. I will say Fiverr is, do you want me to give like the whole thing on Fiverr now, or do you want me to? Yeah, okay. So for Fiverr, I will say different strategy there. Even if you are experienced, you are starting from scratch on Fiverr because it's like SEO, but specific to that platform. And the people who work there really don't know that you're a professional, really. I mean, they don't have the proof. They don't know you yet. They only know you from your profile. There are things you can do to command a higher rate. Obviously, if you have professional photos or videos, or you have a lot of client evidence, definitely upload as much as you can. Use every single square inch, like every letter space, everything you can to get information up there. But I will say just the culture of Fiverr is they're really looking at reviews. So you want to have as much evidence as possible, but then get reviews. And usually I tell people, offer a lower rate. I know it's going to be painful, but just do it. Offer a lower rate. And then every time you get someone, or maybe monthly, you don't want to adjust your gigs too often, but maybe monthly, raise your rate. Okay. And you will have people who come back. So I will say too, I've had recurring clients on Fiverr now. That's helped me a lot. And I will also say, if you get better at upselling, I call it ethical upselling, then you will have people do bigger gigs. So I had like a $25, $50 social media strategy gig thing. And then I've gotten $800 packages off the back of that. So that's something you have to think about, is the strategy there. But usually you do have to grind a little bit and just be willing to take lower pay. But it's good. By the way, you can take those reviews, screenshot them, and use them on social media and in other places as well. So that's something to consider, that what you do on Fiverr also affects you elsewhere. So Fiverr, Upwork, personal networking, letting people know what you're doing. And then also, if you have your own social media platform that you have been growing, or your own website, that is also part of your portfolio. You can link to that as evidence that you know what you're talking about. So I think the main message here is that everybody's further along than they think they are. And I really do think you could offer a paid service as early as this month if you decided to just take a few action steps on your next day off.
You mentioned upselling, and I feel like that might be a little bit of a new idea for people. Can you just explain a little bit more about what that might look like?
Sure thing. So if somebody says to me that they want to figure out the strategy for their Instagram account, and I will also say the clients on Fiverr are a little bit different than the clients I have that I work with one-on-one, because I built a relationship with them, right? So the people coming from Fiverr are a cold audience, meaning they don't know me, I don't know them, they don't listen to my podcast, they don't have any idea about that. So those people are very much problem first focused. They said, we have a product, we have a company, we're trying to get X result. So I approach that more in a corporate way, I guess you could say. And I say, based on what you've told me, based on what I know, this is what I recommend. And also I show up and show out. Even if it's like a 30-minute call or something, I really want to over deliver. I give this document that walks them through like step by step. And it's a very natural thing for me to say, hey, if you want to take this, if you have somebody on your team already who can execute this, that's great. Like, they can run with this. However, if you don't have that, I would love to support you. Would you like to learn more about working with me? And then they usually say, sure. Because I'm already on the call with them, right? So I say, okay, so here are some of my packages and options. And then I will also send them a message. Fiverr has like a chat DM section. So I will also say, I'll send you more information. And also it depends on how the call is going. If you're scared to say packages out loud, which I totally understand because I also was as well, you can also send your packages and pricing in the DM after you talk. So that's another strategy. But basically upselling just means they said they needed this one thing. You being the expert, because you are an expert in whatever it is, you know that this is the next step they're going to need. If they have a social media strategy, they're probably going to need someone to actually figure out, okay, what am I actually going to post, and to post it, right? Or to edit the videos, whatever it is that you're offering. So if it was for a newsletter, for example, okay, so you have a newsletter writing gig, I'm going to write your email newsletter. Do you have somebody to actually publish the newsletter? Do you know how to set up an email sequence? So just think about what is the next thing that the person is going to need, and then how you can deliver that for them.
I'm actually curious, when you do any manual outreach, so not like Fiverr and Upwork, but maybe more where you are doing some outreach, do you tend to link your packages in that initial email, or are you just sharing the services first and then saying something like, if you want, I could share my packages?
That's a good question. So I've done less outbound outreach. I forgot to mention that as one of the ways to do it. I've done less of that, but usually if I see It depends on the person and my relationship with them. So if it's completely cold, I would just say, introduce myself, right? And I'd be like, hey, I noticed you have this. Are you thinking about doing this? I've only done that a few times, to be honest. But for people who I know, I would probably be more casual, like, hey, I noticed that you're doing this. Like, let me know if you ever are in need of XYZ. And I think it's a little less scary if I know them, obviously, if I know them from something or we've been in something together. But also, outbound cold can kind of be less scary too, because if you don't know them, then you kind of have nothing to lose, right? So I will say though, if you send an email, I have not been putting a whole bunch of links and attachments in there just because I've noticed that email deliverability is very weird right now with the last couple of years, things that Gmail's been doing. So I typically just introduce myself and then go from there.
We kind of talked about sharing packages, so I want to talk about rates because I know this is a big pain point for creators who especially are first launching their own services. What do they charge and how can they confidently share these rates? Any tips for that?
Yeah, it is hard. It's always hard. I don't know if maybe just hasn't gotten easier for me yet. I've been doing this now for several years. I will say that if I could go back, I would offer higher rates from the beginning for a few reasons. Here's why. One is that you don't anticipate always when you're new how long things are going to take. And so $300 to $400 sounds like a lot. And then you're like, wait, I just spent 10 hours on that. And now my hourly rate is actually lower than I was wanting. And then you get resentful and it's just not good for you or for the client in the long run. So I recommend, unless you're doing the Fiverr route, which is a totally different strategy, I would definitely start with higher packages. And then another thing you want to think about too. So in the last couple of years, I've been starting to hire people on and train people under me to do some of the work, to share the load. And if I had had a higher rate before, then it wouldn't be so hard. I wouldn't have to raise them because it's awkward to raise a rate, which you can do, but it's awkward if you have a recurring client and you're like, hey, I know that you've been getting this, but I'm actually raising my rate now. And you will lose clients, by the way, when you do that. I know that's a future problem though. You just need your first few, but I would say raise more, charge more. And then also another consideration, if you charge too little, people won't trust it, which sounds very funny, but they'll say, why are you only charging this? Like, even if they're not an expert in the service, there's something about the rate you charge that shows how much you value yourself and your services, how much of an expert you are. So there is a little bit of psychology there, but I would just say, think about what you're actually offering. And what I would also do a couple of mock clients, especially if you don't have any kind of testimonials or anything yet. Depends on what you want to do here, but you can either offer somebody like a friend, like, hey, can I do this for you? I just want to try it, and get a testimonial. And that is really helpful. That builds up your portfolio. Or you can do something for yourself if you haven't done anything else yet. So like for UGC, for example, you can pick up a product and just talk about it as if you had a gig, right? So you can tell people what it looks like when they work with you. It's good practice. And then document everything and see like, okay, how long does this actually take me? Based on that, you can do like an hourly rate times X amount of hours, or you can say, okay, I want to have a retainer, or I want to have a package. It also depends on the service, the nature of the service too. So if you're offering blog posts and newsletters one-off, those are typically going to be lower ticket than if you offer something that is recurring and it's full service. So if I'm doing like a YouTube to Instagram content repurposing, that's going to be a higher recurring package than someone who just wants 5 reels one-off. They have a YouTube video. They're saying, I just need these 5. Okay, that's going to be a lower thing. But best believe when I talk to the person, I'm going to say, are you sure you don't want this recurring? Because then you're going to have ongoing support, and that's what you need. You need consistency. And I always feel that it's important to be in integrity with what you're saying. I can say with confidence, like, if you're going to be on YouTube or Instagram, you're going to have to be consistent. That's just the name of the game. So I would love to help you with that because I know how hard it is to do that all by yourself. That's what I would say to upsell that person. So hopefully that helps with packages and pricing. I'm also always willing, if you are in travel blog prosperity and you want to post something in there, I will give you some feedback. Having some friends who are freelancers, that also helps too, like to share. By the way, you've built such an amazing community. I know I've told you that already, and I tell other people all the time. Jessie has the best community. Everybody in there is so helpful and generous. I've learned so much. And the fact that everybody in there has different skill sets, like you can also see what other people are offering and what you might want to do in the future. So just never be afraid to ask for people for feedback.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. And like, I would say the same thing back to you. You are so, so helpful. I mentioned this before, but always willing to give advice. And I'll say too, even though I'm the one coordinating the community, I feel like I'm always learning from everyone, which is so much fun. Like, I've never done a gig on Fiverr and I've never really heard of people doing that. And then you brought it up. I'm like, let me write this down and think about maybe how I could do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I'm just thinking like, oh, if I was going to have Jessie put up a gig on Fiverr, I'm like, oh, she could offer her UGC, she could offer, and you could even use some of your Amazon videos as examples. Like you can use work that you've already used elsewhere. So that's a pro tip, by the way. If you have things you've done for past clients, now you do want to be careful, by the way, when you're putting together a portfolio and getting testimonials, like ask for permission, make sure it's okay. I will say that is one challenge I have is that some of my clients don't want people to know that they have somebody managing their stuff. So that's been hard. I'm like, I can't always share that publicly. But if a client like emails me and wants proof, then I can send them an account link and know it's just for their eyes. So that's something else you got to think about too. But the more that you can build a portfolio in public, the better. So if you're in the beginning, use your own content, ask friend business owners if you can do stuff for them. Like there's so many things you can do.
You mentioned the idea of having this client that's coming back, a recurring client. So I'm curious if you have any tips for impressing and retaining your freelance clients for that more consistent income.
Yeah, I guess the first thing would be treating them as if it's your own work. Their work is your work. That's the first thing. I would also say always go, I think I said this already, but always go a bit above and beyond what they asked. And I know that some people will say, oh, but you don't want to offer too much. You don't want to over deliver in the sense that your work is devalued. So there is a little bit of finesse here. But I mean, just giving them some other little bonuses, it's just nice. It's like when you check into a hotel and then you have like a treat on the bed, right? It's like, aw, thank you so much. That was thoughtful. You want for them to feel like that. So how can you make them feel like that? If it was photography, could you include some extra edited photos that you did not mention? And there's also some strategy to this as well. So going forward, once you have things really nailed down, you'll already know how many you're going to deliver to that person, right? But you're not going to say that. So I do think there's something about setting expectations and then over delivering there. And then also, and I will be the first to say that I've struggled with deadlines and email. Okay, I will be the first to admit that. I struggle with that. But if you can nail that, and if you can be early, that is even better. I will also say if you are someone who struggles with that, I have used a lot of tools now to lean on those so I don't have to do it all manually. So I use Google Calendar, I use TidyCal to book appointments and things and give me reminders. So there are tools you can use to make up for your deficiencies. But I will say like, yeah, professionalism, kindness, remembering things like their birthday. I mean, something like that. And by the way, freelancing, it incorporates a lot of different services you could offer. I will even argue like being a travel agent or itinerary planning kind of falls into that as well. So when you're offering services, like what can you do to make their stay extra special? Could you, gosh, for itinerary planning, now I'm getting excited. Like you could call the restaurants ahead of time, let them know that you're going to be there, your client's going to be there, and they're going to feel like a celebrity and be like, wow, my person's so connected. So things like that, so that they not only give you a review and testimonial and that their time is great, but that they refer you, because referrals are a lifeblood for any kind of service-based business.
Do you also have any tools? Because you have a few different freelance clients that you're doing different services for, which I imagine can sometimes be a struggle to kind of stay organized, like I'm doing the social media and then the blog writing. Do you have any tools you use to keep all your different clients organized and all these different workflows?
One thing I do, I have a paid ChatGPT account and I actually organize into projects. So if you were to look at my ChatGPT dashboard, you'll see their names or their company names on the side. And so that helps because I can always click into that and see like what was I working on last. And then also it memorizes their brand voice, their facts about their brand. So I don't have to remember it all. It like builds a second brain for me, which is amazing. I will also say there are certain packages where I just do the things manually. So people are often surprised to hear this. For social media, some people will use something like Metricool or something like that. And I might get to a point where I eventually do that. But I have just found that I actually become an expert on that person's account if I am physically on their Instagram account, on their Facebook business page, engaging, looking at Meta Business Suite. That is what I tend to prefer. So that is what I use. And I will also say one thing that helps is time blocking. So after this interview, by the way, I'm going to go and have like a 10-minute break just so I can like reset my brain. And then I'm going to go put on my teacher brain and then do curriculum development for a couple of hours. So yeah, there is a little bit of that about Google Calendar, TidyCal, sending messages, setting reminders for people. And then also, if you were to look at my planner, I have started blocking out certain days when I can. Now, this is not always perfect because maybe I'll have a client meeting, on this one day and that's not movable, but I do try to have similar kinds of activities on the same day just so I don't have too much context switching. So if I'm going to be editing videos, I try to batch that all on the same day. If I'm going to be repurposing content, I try to do that. So I use Opus Clips, by the way, a lot for long to short repurposing. I also use Descript for video editing and for recording. So if I can do multiple kinds of activities at one time, it does make me faster. And I will say that's one way to streamline too. If you do want to specialize and only offer 1 or 2 or 3 services, that's going to be probably the easiest way to make yourself a professional. But in the beginning, you're not going to know really what's going to take because what are you fastest and best at? What do you like? So I say, try several of them and see how they go. And then you can always specialize later, or you can just continue to offer different ones. Like there's no wrong or right answer. And I will say too, because I know that in our community, we have so many travelers, right? Like you're, on the road or you're traveling a lot. Like I'm about to go travel for 2 weeks. And each day it is like, this is a work trip. Each day I'm doing something. I have a lot of stuff that's already batched, ready to go. So like my client content, I actually worked 3 weeks in advance. So this whole last week was like me prepping for this, right? So their stuff is already ready to go. I'll just need to post it or I'll just need to schedule. Like for podcast episodes, I have those already scheduled. For client newsletters, those are already scheduled. So there is a little bit of organization and planning that goes in. Batching is huge for me. That's how I create my own content, by the way, too. It's just easier for me to do. This sounds weird, but it's easier to do 5 episodes at one time than just 1, and I get more out that way. So I do the same thing with my clients.
And we're talking a lot about time, like time management. Once someone starts landing a few clients, how do they avoid trading all of their time for money, especially when also trying to grow their own blog and channels? And any other maybe tips for staying organized when you have tons of different clients?
It is hard at first. I started when I was a full-time teacher and I was doing this and I was also planning group trips. So don't do exactly what I did. It was too much. But I will say that, again, you just have to kind of put a work schedule for yourself. That is one thing that I wish I'd done. And I did start doing that with my travel agent stuff. So eventually I was like, okay, travel agent stuff is only on Saturdays from 8 to 2. So I treated it like a part-time job. Same thing with my other freelancing. I said, okay, I do client work for this client from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. And I do this from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. So ironically, setting a schedule has actually made me more free, which I know sounds funny because so many of us want time freedom and location independence. But I really do think having a schedule and actually sticking to it is like one of the best things you can do for yourself if you can. And I know it's hard on travel days. So I also have like what I call couch tasks versus desk tasks. So there are some things I just can't do on the couch, right? But I can do like certain things. So I have this tool called Monday for one of my clients. I can go in there, copy and paste the caption, download the video, and use it on my mobile app. So that's one thing I could do, like if my desktop wasn't working or if I didn't have my computer with me. So there's certain systems, I will say, that I think systems is the most important part of it, leaning on that. And then just making things as much the same every single time as possible, like repeatable processes. That will also help you, by the way. I know this is future talk, but if and when you want to have someone help you, if you can easily explain, this is my process for doing this, these are the steps for doing this, it's going to set your future self up for success for sure.
Do you have anything you do to set boundaries as well? I don't know if you've ever had a client that kind of emailed a lot more than you were expecting, or you said you would create this many reels and then they were trying to get extra thing, like asking for extra things that kind of went beyond, or maybe they were extra needy in a way.
Yes, that's another thing that you will continually practice. I will say one thing is just keeping it kind and professional. So if somebody sends you a request that you're like, oh my gosh, how dare they, do not respond immediately. That is one thing I've also learned. Like just give yourself some time. Use ChatGPT to reword. Like you might want to be assertive, but in a kind way. So help have ChatGPT help you figure out what you're going to respond to. For apps like Fiverr and Upwork, I actually find it's a little bit easier for this because the deliverables are very much set. Like you get X and X, right? So I could just say, hey, I'm sorry, that wasn't included in this gig, but I'd be happy to help you again on the next one. Or also, depending on how they ask, sometimes I'm just feeling extra generous and I'll just say, like, here's something like this wasn't too hard for me to do. Here you go. So it kind of depends on like, do you want to retain them as a recurring client? What is the ask? Because sometimes the ask isn't that big of a deal and I don't mind. But yeah, you do want to protect boundaries and your packages and your pricing. I will also say that one thing that really helps is setting expectations from the beginning. The more clear you are in that beginning discovery call or the outreach or whatever it is that you offer, what's not included, what is, that helps. And then also posture, how you present yourself really matters. So even right now, I have a little more of a corporate voice and it's not even intentional. It just happens when I'm like, okay, in this mode, I don't talk with as much uptalk as my Southern California accent, like when I'm talking to clients, right? I kind of code switch a little bit and I don't know, that's really helped me. So I just have to know when I'm talking to clients, depending on the environment, just like if I was going to work, I would have a slightly more professional tone. So that, and then I would also say polite justification. That is something I learned from Nina Zade, I think is her last name. She teaches creators as well. And she has this term called polite justification for working with brands. And working with brands, by the way, is just another form of freelancing, right? So you would just say like, hey, this is what the contract said. So by the way, have contracts, highly recommend that. Refer to your contract. These were the deliverables. And then suggest an upsell, right? Like, hey, I'd be happy to add this for an additional X amount.
It's so funny you mentioned Nina. I actually have an episode coming out with her.
Oh, perfect.
Soon. I forget the exact date. Actually, by the time this one goes up, hers will have already gone up. So if people are curious to hear from Nina, look at the past episodes and I'll link it in the show notes too.
She's great. Her stuff is great too. But I love when I just heard polite justification. I'm like, that's it. That's exactly how you do it.
I'm curious about maybe some mistakes that you've seen creators make. What are some of the biggest mistakes that are common to make when trying to get into freelancing?
The biggest one would be offering too much for too little. You will often think because you know how long things take and how easy something is for you. And I will still make this mistake sometimes. And I'll think, this is so easy. Like, I should just charge X amount for it. Because that's the value of that task or outcome that you've assigned in your head. But you can't assign the value, the same value that the client will have. So for example, if you write a blog post for them and that blog post is going to go on to earn them $2,000, that blog post is worth way more than you think it is, right? It's not just a $50 blog post. And it's also how you position it too. So I will say positioning and messaging is something I see new freelancers and creators struggle with because we can often think like creators. And I get it because I kind of, again, I have to put my brain on is what I say. This is my teacher brain. This is my YouTube brain, right? So you have to put a different brain on. Like I'm talking to business owners. I have to position this deliverable as the outcome they're going to get, not the deliverable itself, right? It's not a blog post. This is a lead generating tool that will possibly bring you thousands of emails. It will bring you X amount of money. And that takes some practice too. So I would say thinking about like, what are you offering yourself? And I will also say undervaluing your services because of what you offer. So that kind of goes with that. It's like, oh, this blog post only took me an hour and I'm charging $25 an hour. Therefore, this blog post is $25. That's not it, right? One, you should definitely give yourself a higher rate. But two, what you're doing is actually like a set of skills that you've accumulated over time. So if you've been a blogger for 3 years, that's 3 years of experience. Or if you have like 200 blog posts, you've amassed a lot of editing experience, technically like some journalism, probably depending on what you're doing. I mean, these are really valuable skills. And also any of your formal training. They don't consider any certifications they have. If you went to college, what was your undergraduate degree about? So all of this stuff matters, your work experience. I would say it's all about positioning though, and the confidence, again, the posturing, which I know can be really uncomfortable. It can definitely be uncomfortable for me because I hate conflict and I want everybody to get along and I want to just give everything away. But you have to position yourself like, no, I'm an expert. This is what it costs. And that's it. And then you also have to stand your ground on that. So if you are not willing to work for that amount or less than that amount, you have to be also okay with knowing that some clients will go or prospects will say, no, I'm not interested. And then just being okay with that because the client you want to work with might be the next one.
Yeah, I think that's so important too, because I know in the past I've done that, like said yes to things that I was like, I'm uncomfortable with this, but I'll say yes. And then when you're working, you kind of feel angry. You're like frustrated versus if you wait and get the client that's paying you what you're worth, you're happy to go above and beyond. You really want to put in your all. So you go into it with such a different mindset, I think.
Absolutely. So I think there's self-worth. And I also try to tell people that, I mean, you're a human being. Your worth is limitless, right? Of course. But I do think thinking about your work, what is the work worth? And also detaching yourself from it a little bit, that helped me a lot, right? Because then I was like, okay, I'm not putting any self-worth issues or, personal stuff into this. This is just what the work is. One other thing you can do too, if you really struggle with what is my worth? How much should I charge? Because it is really hard in the beginning or building a new set of skills. Go look up the salaries of marketing professionals that they would have to hire for that. You are saving these companies and these businesses so much money. I mean, even when you charge your max amount, it is still probably less than they would pay like a marketing professional. So that really helped me out a lot. I was like, oh, they'd be paying someone $50 an hour for this at least. Okay, like I can charge more. Your skills are just way more valuable than you think they are, because you might think, oh, this is not as good as I think. And I've done this where I've put out something and been like, oh, I hope they like it. Like I think it's good, but I don't know. And they were so happy, over the moon. Another thing too, that if you're talking to somebody about packages and pricing and they say yes right away, it's time to raise your rates. I wish I would have learned that sooner. Like, oh man, like I could have charged more for that. So I want it to be a win for the client. I do want to consider market rates and things, but I also have to make it worth my time, because also consider what else could you be doing if you weren't doing that, right? That freelancing gig. So all things you have to consider. I know it's a lot. It is a lot to think about.
This was so, so helpful. Thank you so, so much for your time and your tips. Can you just let everyone know where they can find you?
Yeah, well, you can find me everywhere. But for this kind of stuff, you can search Brittany Verlenich. You'll see exactly how I talk to freelancing clients, and you can always send me a DM if you have questions about this stuff. Same thing for my YouTube channel about that. And then I also have a newsletter, Substack, that I created specifically for you guys, for my peers, for my colleagues, to share stuff like this. And it really had to be on Substack because I can't share all this stuff publicly, if that makes sense, right? Like I'm not going to share client names, of course, but there are some things that I would not share publicly because I want to obviously still be a freelancer myself, but I want to share with you all. So you can opt in for that. It's there's a free version of that. So I'll make sure she has a link for that.
Awesome. And what's the name of the Substack?
The Freelancer Fix.
That's so perfect. Awesome. And I will have all of these links in the show notes on the podcast and the video description on YouTube. All right, now I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you feel inspired and empowered to increase your income with freelancing. Also, don't forget to sign up for the free open house that I'm hosting inside Travel Blog Prosperity in April. It includes 5 days of live workshops and coaching calls meant to help you take your traffic, email list, and income to the next level. You can also grab access to the free Travel Blogger resource library, which features 75 plus resources that can help you grow your community and increase your blogging profits, including a Make Money Freelancing cheat sheet based on today's video. And of course, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss future videos sharing these strategies for bloggers who want to turn their blogs into profitable full-time businesses. Happy blogging!